Hello everyone, welcome to use case number 4. As a part of this use case, we're going to deploy a war application running on Spring MVC to Tomcat 8.0. So the image is going to look very similar to this. You have infrastructure on the server on the bottom, a host operating system, Docker engine, and then on top of Docker engine sits Tomcat. We're going to download the Tomcat 8.0 image from DockerHub, and then we're going to deploy a Spring war application. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code, drill down on use case number 4. As you can see, I've checked in the project. You may want to import this project into Eclipse or IntelliJ, preferably Eclipse because this is set up for Eclipse. And you can check out what is being done here as a part of the project. It basically contains a Docker controller, which basically maps to a URI, and then it's going to greet you with your with a name and a title. You also have the web apps folder, pretty standard Maven project here with Spring Servlet running. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try to deploy this application. We already have the WAR which is generated. There is a README file which gives you a basic idea into what is being done here. The Docker file, as always, describes the image we're going to generate, and the scripts.txt has all the commands you need to run. So let's get started. Let's go into the Docker file. As you can see, the first thing on Docker file is we are trying to download Tomcat 8.5. This could be virtually anything. It could be 9.0 as well, or you could just say latest. And then the maintainer is nothing but the author of the file, which is a temporary placeholder just to identify who's written this file. And then what we are doing is we are just copying Spring MVC var into this directory here. We are aware that Tomcat is usually installed on user local, and we're going to copy it to the web apps directory. So let's see how this is done. Let's open Visual Studio Code. Open the scripts.txt. Let's copy the first command here and execute it in the PowerShell. All we are going to do is to build an image from Tomcat 8.5. We created the image. It took about 2 to 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and copy the next command. Let's make sure that the image got created correctly. As you can see, the image is created correctly. Sometimes if it says none, that means the image has a problem. So right now the image is working correctly. So let's go to the next command. We're going to run 2 containers out of this. So the containers are running on port 5555 and 5556. Let's open Chrome. So as you can see, the Tomcat page shows up. If I do /spring MVC, so I need to get the root name, Docker Spring MVC. So as you can see, this says Spring MVC running on Docker. So we're going to try this on 6666 or 5556. So as you can see, both the containers are running fine. So what we're going to go back and do is we're going to go into the shell. So as an example, let's do A98. So as you can see, that is a web apps directory, and inside web apps sits Docker Spring MVC, which is a war file. This war file has been exploded and has been exploded to a directory like this, and that's why we're able to see this on the screen. That said, we've come to the end of the lecture. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the containers and keep it all clean. So the way to do that would be exit out of the container. Just do docker stop docker ps-a-q, and then it's going to stop both the containers, remove them, and then you can remove the images. And that's all it is for this lecture. let's summarize whatever we've learned right now. I'm going to combine the summary of use case 3 as well because I didn't have a brain overload section in between. So going back to the Docker file, we use the copy command. It copies the directory as is to the desired location inside the container. The cmd command in the Docker file executes, or is a command which the container needs to execute when it starts up. Add basically refers to adding a directory to the desired location, and run is executing a command inside the container. A good example for run would be to run updates on Ubuntu images or Tomcat images. So that's it. We are at the end of use case number 4. This was a simple use case just to demonstrate how to deploy a WAR file on the Tomcat image. A very regular use case for most engineers. Thank you for watching this lecture, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.